Just below Navajo Dam is the put-in at the famous Texas Hole in the San Juan. On most any other morning it might be bustling with activity, but we have caught it just right, on a holiday and slightly inclement. It allows us to linger and let John and Terry wax a little about their preparations for the day's angling.
John, happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you, Terry.
You know, I might be weird, but I love fishing in the snow, and that's no bull.
I really do too. I think it's a unique experience. A lot of folks, you know, will kind of shy away from going out in this type of weather, but for me, our hatches here on the San Juan are the best when it's like this.
Well, you know, you hear a lot about crowds on San Juan, but I don't see many today.
No, it's kind of nice. Kind of nice. We're going to be able to fish some water and not see anybody today, I'm pretty sure.
Well, anyway, we started off here. That's a 5-weight rod, floating line, and you've got a 9-foot leader, and you've tied some 6X tippet on there, and we're using the fluorocarbon. And you think 6X tippets don't make much difference here?
Well, I think what they do make a difference in is the presentation. I think the lighter tippets float through the water and make our smaller flies, which the San Juan is probably the most famous for, look and act a lot better floating through the water to the fish.
I see you're putting on a strike indicator there, and we've got a split shot down below.
Right. We're going to use a yarn indicator, and this is polypropylene yarn. And the reason why we probably use it the most here is that it's sensitive to the fish's takes. We're going to see some really subtle takes when we're fishing these midges, and you can pick up on these subtle takes a lot better with yarn indicators than probably any other indicator.
And I also notice with the yarn indicators, if you've got a little bit of wind chop, it always sticks up.
Yeah.
And you can tell whenever your fly is dragging, whenever you've got a circular ball on there, you can't tell if anything's dragging.
Exactly. And I think in casting as well, it casts easier than a lot of indicators because it's light. It's you know, if you don't get too big of one, it's still fairly aerodynamic and it floats really well, and it doesn't interrupt your cast as much. So you can throw a little tighter loop with a yarn indicator than I think you can with like a cork indicator, for instance.
I use the smallest yarn indicator I can possibly get away with. Now, what about color? Does color of your indicator make any difference?
I don't think it makes too much difference on our river. I like the white. I think it's a real unobtrusive color that doesn't ever really spook the fish, even in the really shallow water. But I know a lot of guides that use bright colors, and it doesn't seem to make that much difference.
So we're going to start off nymphing?
We're going to start off fishing some small midges. And what I've got tied on here, I've got a small red midge larva. It's a size 22 200R hook, which is probably about a size 20.
Barb's off.
The barb's off. We have to fish barbless hooks here. That is the regulation. I have a small size 22 midge pupa at the end, kind of an olive and black midge pupa.
Okay.
We'll see a variety of different midges, and we'll have to fish a variety of different colors. We're going to start out with this, see what happens, make some changes if we need to. We'll kind of keep our eyes open on the water, see what kind of bugs are coming off, and then we can make our changes according to that.
So John, how many species of midges do you have here?
Well, I'm not sure exactly, Terry, but here's a box of my flies, and I probably have, I'd say 10 to 15 different sizes and colors of midges, as well as some Baetis mayflies in this box. And as you can see there, they range from a very bright red to a very drab olive or even black. So we have a big variety of midges here.
Which do you find to be more important, size or color?
I think size probably more so than color in most cases. If they're keying in on something that's a size 24, boy, you better go with a size 24 because that's what they're looking for. You know, in some cases maybe colors aren't important, but on our river it's very important. Very, very important.
Well, that's neat. Well, I'm looking forward to doing this.
Well, we're ready to go, Terry. Let's do some fishing.
As far as fishing shows go, most require a jump start of some sort. It was not to be the case on this day. The direction and tone came as natural as the flakes of the spring snow.
This is the famous Texas Hole. This run here has more than 5,000 fish in it.
Oh my goodness, right here, this run.
Yeah, this run here is probably got the most fish of any pool that we have on the river. It is a pretty amazing place.
Fairly slow water.
It is, and I think that's one of the characteristics to the San Juan that we have is pretty slow moving water. It's not really fast. which is perfect for midges. Midges tend to like a little slower moving water. They don't require the fast moving water and the oxygen. Right there, dude.
Okay, flipping away. Was that a fish? Was that a take? Okay, that's what we're going to look for.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty subtle. They're just going to be taps.
And you want to be right on top of that motion.
Yeah, if you're late setting the hook.
You're late setting the hook.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll miss the fish.
Now help me with my mend. What would you do
Now I would go
here?
ahead and mend that back up to the right. Just keep plenty of slack in there. We're in the zone right now. You can see the foam bubbles passing the strike indicator by. We could get a hit really at any moment right now. If anything, what I try to do with the hook set that helps me with these small flies is trying to remember to set downstream with the flow.
All right.
This tends to kind of pull the hook into the fish's mouth better.
Very good. More than an upstream, an overhead set.
Yeah. Okay. Just a kind of a downstream sweeping set works best. You'll tend to pull the fly into the fish's mouth more. And with these smaller flies, you need every advantage you can get. And that's a big advantage right there. Looks like we've got a good presentation. The strike indicator's going a little slower than the foam bubbles.
Do you think one of the reasons that you have to use such small flies here is because the water's so slow?
That's one of the reasons, but I think probably the biggest reason is the temperature.
Okay.
We have a very cold river here.
What is your water temperature?
Water temperature from the dam is 42 degrees.
That's chilly.
It's very chilly. It's chillier than most trout rivers. And because of that, we've got really small flies.
Okay.
Even our Beta mayflies are smaller than they are on most rivers. And I don't know if that's, again, because of the temperature, but that would be my best guess.
Now,
right there, Terry.
There's a fish. I was almost asleep on that guy, too.
Ooh, nice fish, too, bud.
Serious
That's
fish.
a big one. That was a very subtle hit.
That was subtle. Doesn't get any more subtle than that.
That was just the stop and the strike indicator.
Now, we were just talking about water temperature, 42 degrees out of a dam. What does it warm up to in the summer?
Well, the temperature out of the dam stays exactly the same. So we have, our water temperature is the same in January as it is in July.
So 5 miles down the river, you could potentially get 50-degree water in the summer?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Our temperatures don't get extremely hot in the summer. We'll get, 90s, an occasional 100, but most of the time I would say it's mid-80s to mid-90s. Oh, nice fish, Terry.
That's a good start.
I would say it's a very good start.
Yeah, I was going to say, if this is your average fish, we're in the right spot.
Well, I think that's a little above our average size fish right there. Just be careful of not rolling the indicator into the rod tip.
Yeah, I've got a big, I'm just going to take the rod high. Let me pull him back this way if I can, do a rope-a-dope on him maybe.
Yeah, he's trying to.
What type of fish do you have in the river? Just exclusively rainbows?
No, we have a pretty good brown trout population, to tell you the truth.
Is it dependent upon what part of the river?
Yeah, a little bit, but the browns are increasing in numbers every year, and they're moving up into areas where you never used to see them.
Right, kind of throughout the West,
yeah,
same trend.
Yeah. They also, well, the fact they reproduce much better than the rainbows, just flat out. These are mainly hybrid fish. Holy cow, Terry,
that's a good start.
That's a good one, buddy.
That is a good start. That guy's over 20. I mean, he's well over 20.
I would say probably about 22.
That would be my guess, and robust.
Very robust.
Wow.
Let's see, if he'll just hold still. Whoa. He's big enough, this is like a wrestling match.
I would say, just guessing 23 inches.
Yeah, pretty darn close.
Well, we don't need to tape him.
It's
a good fish anywhere in the country. That's a good fish.
Upright here. There we go.
Well, where do we go from there? I don't know. Thank goodness it wasn't on the first cast. Thanks, John.
Holy cow.
That is incredible. Now, at Lee's Ferry we have what's called the 2020 Club, and I think that's more like the 22-22 Club.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Terry. That's exactly what it would be. The dam was completed in 1962. It took 4 years to build. They started in '58. They immediately put trout in here. The Game and Fish Department here in New Mexico knew they were going to have a cold water fishery. Oh, there's a good one.
There was no doubt about that one. That's more what I'm used to.
That one clobbered it. It was completed in '62, but by '66 we
another
had
good
trophies.
fish. This is another big fish. I don't think he's quite as big as the last guy, but another really nice fish.
By '66 we had trophy trout in this river, and oddly enough, they used to. Probably the biggest food item in the river back then were snails. And they used to call these the rattling rainbows. They'd be so full of snails that you would pick them up and they would literally rattle because they had so many snails in their stomach.
That's amazing. Now, do you still have a lot of snails?
No, we really don't. I think since the reservoir is stabilized and everything, our food over the years has changed. In fact, when I first started fishing this river in the early to mid '80s, San Juan worms were the popular fly. And of course, that's probably the most famous fly to ever come from this river. And nowadays, there isn't many of the worms in the water either. It's kind of become more of a midge fishery and a Baetis mayfly fishery, and so we get a lot of that kind of insect. But it has been a very good river for 30 plus years now.
And consistent.
Very consistent. The New Mexico Game and Fish do a wonderful job in taking care of the river. Well, that is a good fish, Terry.
I think he's about like the last one. I really do. So you fish year round?
We do fish year round. Unlike probably Lee's Ferry, our popular season is probably more, March to November. But our fishing is good throughout the winter as well. But it is an incredible year-round fishery.
Well, not as big as the
Not as big, but it's still a pretty decent one.
If you were to pick 1 month, what's your favorite month to fish the Juan?
I like the fall a lot. I like September, October, November. Really good hatches, good dry fly fishing, usually really good water conditions, clear water. We catch our biggest fish though kind of early spring, late winter, kind of from January to let's say March. We probably get the nice fish there.
Another nice fish. And it very strong. And it was the perfect time you just unbuttoned, John.
Well, notice again the girth on these fish. I mean, they are very fat, healthy fish. They get a lot of food. It's usually very small, but as you can see from this fish, it has a very nice girth.
Yep. That's a substantial fish. He's not going hungry.
No, for eating nothing but size 20 to 24 midges.
They're busy eating.
They eat lots and lots on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, that's a good fish.
It's a pretty cut bow.
Well, thanks.
Thanks again.
I think you found the right flies.
They seem to be working. I didn't get a chance to see which fly that one ate before it popped out of its mouth.
I think it was on this bottom guy.
On the pupa again.
Yeah.
That's a fly that I call the Big Mac. It's kind of a style of fly that I tie, and really have good luck on it. I use it in a variety of different colors, kind of depending on what type of midges I'm seeing on the water. In the spring, our midges tend to be a little bit bigger than they do in the summer and in the fall. And so actually that fly is probably a little bit bigger than our normal midge that we fish here a lot.
And this is a size 20?
It's a 20 scud hook. But if you notice, I didn't tie too far around the bend. I kind of kept it up on the shank. So I didn't get it too big. And I used the size 20 scud hook, so it's got a nice gap to the hook and holds the fish really nice. It flies right in the zone. You got a nice drift. You got a good amount of slack. Again, I can't overemphasize that enough. You know, I think a lot of folks, especially if they're used to dry fly fishing, kind of tight line their flies a lot. And oh, there he is.
And I was sleeping.
Broke him off.
Did I? No.
Nope.
I don't think. Well, maybe I did.
Maybe set a little bit hard
nope,
on that.
We're
one.
on. John, at the ferry, I encourage slack, and people will tell me, say, Terry, how am I ever going to set the hook with that much slack?
Well, you could see right there, you pulled it completely out of the water without much effort at all, and that is something that people have a hard time getting used to. And these guys are very picky about presentation. If there's one thing they're real picky about, it's how the fly floats through the water. And you've got to have plenty of slack. Even in this slow moving water, you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but it certainly does.
My most common response when someone says that is, if you don't have that much slack, you're not going to have to worry about setting the fly because the fish isn't going to eat your fly.
You're probably not going to get a bite, and that's definitely the case here. I think slack is an important part of all fly fishing. I fish a fair amount of slack with dry flies, even, again, because I want the fly to look a lot more natural. And anytime that you're tight lining it, outside of maybe streamer fishing, you know, where you want that tension against your line where you can feel the hits, you know, you've got to fish with slack in trout fishing.
Now that was no doubt about that one. It was not one of those little subtle takes, was it?
It seems like some of the hits we've been getting have been very aggressive, and some have been very soft. Oh, son of a gun!
Unbutton. You know, it's
that's one of the
hooks.
things. You don't land them all.
No.
You know, it's you have a hard time sometimes explaining that to your clients, but you know, I always feel if you land 50% of what you hook on our river, you're doing pretty good. But like I said, on a good day, you'll hook more than 20 fish probably. Ooh, there's a hit.
See, there was a hit, and that was just, again, so super subtle.
Yeah, it just kind of wiggled a little bit.
So, John, if you were to bring one fly rod to this river, what would it be?
You know, I would recommend either a 4 or a 5 weight, and I would like it to be either an 8.5 to 9 foot rod. We do a lot of mending, and the longer rod helps us pick up the line and mend the line a lot easier. So something with a little bit of length, when you're fishing size 20 to 24 flies all the time and 6X tippet, if you've got a 6 weight rod, you're going to break off a lot of fish.
Right.
And a 4 or 5 weight's a lot softer in the tip. It enables you to set the hook aggressively without breaking off the light tippet, and it also helps in fighting the fish. I think you can put a bigger bend in a 4 weight rod than you can a 6 weight rod, and it just kind of protects those light tippets. The good drag, a disc drag reel, is very important. On a lot of rivers it's not too important, but on the San Juan I think it's a very important thing to have. That's a good average fish.
Good average fish for anywhere, and they're all real substantial, healthy fish.
Yeah, if you look at this guy, he's nice and thick.
Yeah, yeah.
They're definitely not starving.
Every one of them has been on that bottom fly.
They have. There we go.
Thank you, thank you.
Which is a little unusual. They should be eating that red larva pretty good. That's been kind of the fly of choice during this time of year.
Do you find that whenever you fish 2 flies that they often work as a team?
Yeah, they sure do. You know, a lot of times, like in the wintertime, we'll fish an egg pattern or a San Juan worm and trail a midge off of that. And I know that the fish probably see the egg or the worm and focus in on it, but then they see the midge that's trailing it and they go, that's really what I want. Right. They'll go and eat it.
So we've drifted probably a quarter of a mile. How much further to your takeout?
We do, our typical float here is about 3 miles of river. This covers most of the special trout water. And, but you're able to float about 15 miles of river. There's in fact a very nice float where you launch in the town of Navajo Dam, where you spent the night, and you float 8 miles through private land, which is really kind of a neat float. There's no fishing pressure, has a very nice variety of hatches, including golden stones, a couple of different caddis. In the summertime, it can be kind of like fishing in Montana. It's big dry fly, throwing it against the banks, up under the willows and stuff like that. And it probably has a lot more brown trout than rainbow trout, which is kind of a nice change. Most of the fish we catch here are rainbows, but that section down there probably has a lot more brown trout than rainbow trout.
Now, John, do you get terrestrial cicadas and grasshoppers?
We don't have too much in the line of cicadas, but we have some good hopper fishing, and we have a wonderful flying ant fall.
I've heard
It
about
happens in the early summer. It's typically the first good rain shower of the summer. Really turns this, kind of turns this ant on, and you'll get some really neat dry fly fishing. It's a one-day event.
One day.
But those trout will remember those ants for several weeks afterwards.
Okay.
You can find them eating midges and throw a big ant out there, and a lot of those fish will eat it real well.
So it'd be something tough to plan for.
Yeah, it is.
Perhaps one of the most underappreciated skills of the fly fisher is mending. When you add an indicator to the mix, it becomes more technical. And we're lucky enough to have John along to help us on improving this form of presentation.
Okay, Terry, I'm going to show you a little technique in mending. There's actually, I always consider two good techniques for mending. One I call the basic mend. What I do is I lift my arm up so I get most of my line off the water. I cock my wrist to the opposite side of my strike indicator, and with a good strong wrist move, I flip the line to the upstream side above my strike indicator. This enables me to mend all my line to my strike indicator for a couple of reasons. One, I'm able to lift most of my line off the water before I mend, which makes it a lot easier. Cocking my wrist kind of enables me to get the leverage to give it a good wrist flip that flips all my line to the correct side, thus giving me the type of mend. And you'll notice that when I make the flip, it's actually very similar to a cast. It's more of a straight line move, and I'm aiming my line towards its intended target, which is directly behind the strike indicator. That way it kind of prevents drag. Now, the other technique I use for mending works better in fast water. It's what I call the roll cast mend. I do just like a roll cast. I'm going to get a little extra slack out to start so I can get my rod into the same position as a roll cast my line out, and again aiming my line so that it gets directly behind the strike indicator, thus preventing drag. This technique works really good for the faster moving water like we've got right here, and getting my line set up correctly enables me to get a good presentation on the bottom half of my drift. You'll notice that with this mend that I actually moved the strike indicator as I mended.
And a lot of people are worried about moving that strike indicator.
You know, the fly isn't down to where the fish is yet, so it doesn't really make any difference about moving the indicator. It's better to move the indicator, get the line in good position, and then I can set myself up for a good float as it goes downstream. My target area is actually down in here. This is where I'm going to find most of the active fish. So if I move my strike indicator up here, it's not hurting me down here where the fish are.
You're setting yourself up for a perfect dead drift.
And that's what you want. You take the time, be aggressive with the mends, get the line in good position, and concentrate more on the bottom half of your drift. When I set myself up to fish a pool like this, I set myself up where the prime location for the fish is in the bottom half of my drift. That way I can take the top half of my drift to get the line in good a good position for a good presentation.
So there's your cast, there's your mending all the way to that strike indicator.
And don't worry again about moving the strike indicator. Worry more about getting the line in a good position. I've got the line now directly behind the strike indicator. You can see the indicator going slower than the surface currents, and I'm in perfect position now to catch a fish. I'm
Now,
right in the zone.
Sometimes one mend is not enough. You've made 3 mends right there. In order
And
to
I probably
achieve-
need even another one right there.
Right. But each one was successively less dramatic than the first one.
Exactly. You can go ahead on the very first one, be aggressive, don't worry about moving the indicator, and then try to make it as easy as possible. Just make it, get your arm up very high. You'll notice I even get my hand above my head. This again gives me the leverage to mend all the line. Notice that again it's more of a straight line move like a cast rather than actually a circle. This is what I kind of see most people doing, is trying to do this type of mend. And if it's windy, the wind is going to catch that every single time, and I'm not going to be successful in keeping the line above it. If I get too much line in front of it like I do now, the currents are going to grab that strike indicator. And even though I caught a fish right there, which was probably...
The do-nothing technique takes years to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And it's a nice one.
He's
Let
too
me grab
big,
the
though.
net for you. Well, hey, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's not
A
too
fish
bad.
is a fish is a fish.
It's not too bad.
It's always a good fish.
Get up some of this slack. I had plenty of line out there, I think.
That's a nice San Juan rainbow.
Yeah. Oh,
And that was a netting job. That was me. I messed that up. I should have had that fish.
oh, but that to me, Terry, was the perfect release.
I agree.
Didn't have to
Didn't
handle
have
the
to touch
fish, and we all got a good look at him. Got to see what he looked like a little bit. And,
Did you see which fly he ate?
yep, he was again. This one actually this time ate the top fly, and this one's just a little different Midge pupa that we've got here. A little darker colors, got a little red rib.
And how would you tell if a fish was feeding on midge pupa?
Well, in this kind of water, we're talking our water being kind of murky right now. It's a little bit hard to tell without probably using a stomach pump. But if you're in shallow water and the water's clear, when they're eating midge pupas, they'll usually suspend more in the middle of the water column and they'll intercept the flies that are rising up towards the surface. So when I encounter a spot where I see the fish are more in the middle of the water column, they're definitely eating midge pupas.
Especially if they're moving side to side. Or up
You'll
and down
definitely see
level.
some side to side, even some up and down moves a little bit. If they see one up above them, they'll rise up, but they'll usually go right back to their little segment of water that they like. But definitely the side to side move, you'll see a kind of move over, eat something, sit there, he'll move back over, eat something again. You can even, when the water's clear enough, you can actually even see them open and close their mouth a lot of times.
So if I were coming here for the first time, my best bet would be to stop by one of the local fly shops.
Most of them have great information. They'll know what type of flies to use. That's the best thing to do.
Okay.
Or hire a guide.
course.
Hire a guide because, you know, our river has got some certain techniques that maybe other rivers don't. And if you want a successful trip, even if you only hire a guide for a day, hire a guide, find out how to fish the river, and then go out on your own. You're going to be a lot more successful. Just so slow, but occasionally it'll move up into this type of water during some of these good hatches. The biggest fish I've seen out of here in the last couple of years was about a 13-pounder.
Oh, that's pretty big.
It
That
was
was a rainbow?
26 and a half inches with a 19 and a half inch girth. It was a ridiculous looking fish. It was, that fish was caught on a size 24 midge pupa right there.
I mean, that's not a football, that's a soccer ball.
And you think about it, with a size 24, you know, it's such a small fly. I think that's one thing that people just don't understand is how these big fish really can survive eating such small flies, but it's
Yeah.
just the fact they can eat, literally hundreds a day. And
or more.
yeah,
Well, any river that has midges, typically the highest biomass of food that that river produces is midges. You pile the midges up against everything else, and it's a big pile of midges.
pretty much the story of our river, I'll tell you. We have a lot of midges, and you can tell just by the health of the fish that it's a good food source. Even though it's a small food source, it's got to be really high protein for those fish too. Oh, there he
Almost was looking away there for a second. Just happened to look back just in time.
is. Nice.
Again, it was just that little
Yeah.
tiny twitch of the indicator.
so
Just
subtle.
Oh, so
Yeah.
subtle.
And it takes anglers a while to figure that out too, because you typically see a little bit more aggressive hit, but these fish, they don't get fat by chasing food. They
Right.
get fat by sitting there and having it come to them. So these guys aren't moving too far to eat our flies.
As you can see, I'm still working on detecting that strike.
Yeah, because we had a couple of hits in there too.
We go along and you say, well, there was one. What? There was one what?
Yeah, it can be pretty solid. I think once you kind of you see it a few times, it definitely makes it a lot easier.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah,
Bigger
pretty.
than I thought.
Again, that's pretty much our average size in this river.
That is a girthy fish. And he ate the bottom fly again.
That's been the fly of choice. That is a nice little rainbow.
Nothing little about that fish.
Yeah, I
John.
guess not.
Well,
We're just a
super.
little spoiled here,
Yes.
Terry.
Well, again,
Well, what do you say we see if we can't catch one of these on a dry fly now?
I'm ready for that. I'm really ready for that.
I think,
This nymph fishing's been good, but I'm up for the challenge.
well, let's go see if we can locate some.